Hi Mortgage Heroes, Andy Cruz here in Business Development, and this is Monday Mortgage Minute. Welcome back to a new week. We know you're coming fresh off of Memorial Day. We hope your time was safe and commemorative for those who have fallen in the line of duty. We are in a new week, and as promised, we're going to take a look at that PCE number that came out last week. Now, the prediction, remember, was that inflation is running hotter and faster than everyone says it is because we're seeing that on the consumer side. Guess what? The Fed's target inflation number of 2% got blown out of the water as the PCE number came out last Friday at 3.1% year over year inflation, and even worse, it was 2.6% up month over month. Now, this is a troublesome sign on many fronts, as we were predicting. But what that means is you're going to see people spending a lot less money, or at least being a lot more thoughtful about how they're spending the money and where that money is being spent. Now, initially, you're going to take a look at things and go, oh, travel's back, hotels are booked again, we're seeing people go out to the movies. Well, yes, all those things are still happening from a consumer behavioral perspective, but there's a lot of catching up to do when it comes to businesses getting back to where they were in their pre-pandemic levels of attendance, consumer spending inside that specific company or that specific industry, especially when it comes to hospitality, restaurants, and entertainment. That's going to take a long time to get back to the levels where their solvency isn't as much of an issue. Now, for us on the consumer side, what I'm expecting is that we're going to see a negative impact as far as mortgage rates are concerned because things are just getting more expensive for us on the consumer side, and the mortgage market and the bond market is probably going to follow suit, unfortunately, because as one thing becomes more expensive, so do others. They're kind of like at the behest of one another. So I'm expecting that mortgage rates are going to potentially teeter this week, maybe even go up just a little bit because we're seeing things go a little bit hotter and faster than they were initially thought to be. Now, the key takeaway for next week and for the month of June in general is going to be, what is the Fed going to do next? How are they going to try to manage and, I'll say, positively manipulate the gears they're moving in order to make sure that things don't go super too red hot and cause an even further unaffordability challenge for most Americans. So we're going to have to keep a really close eye on what happens with mortgage rates, with housing prices, with cost of consumer goods, and we're going to start to see some behavior change. That's just a heads up. You're going to see it happen in the marketplace. People are going to be much more selective, especially if they're on a tight budget. They're going to be a little bit more picky on how and when they spend their money. This week, what I would expect is neutral rates, but erring on the side of increasing. I don't see any downward pressure forcing rates low, so if there is any change in rates this week, expect them to go up only an eighth to only 1/4%, and I don't think there'd be any higher than that. If they do kind of touch that and flirt with that price increase this week, it might come back down. But if you're looking to lock this week, try to get it as low as you can on a good locking day. And make sure you contact your loan officer to find out when that might be, based on our access to economic information that we get before the markets open every day. Thanks again for watching, and have a good week.